Hello everyone and welcome to part C of the animation lesson, and we will continue from where we stopped in the last class. So basically we will start with the option which is called grease pencil. Now the grease pencil is a tool that helps you to draw on the screen. It's a very good tool if you are doing marking or annotations on your polygonal modeling or animation, especially when you're doing a character animation. Suppose in my scene, if you will see the aeroplane is moving up or down, I want to mark its animation. Like suppose I want to mark like at frame 40 where it is pointing. Okay, so I can mark this so I know at frame 40 it was here, and then I can go to frame 72 and I can mark this that it was at frame 72, it was pointing here. So this is how you can easily mark with the grease pencil tool. Now to activate grease pencil tool, you have to press this button here, okay, and it will be loaded on your screen. Now once you have this, you cannot draw anything at this stage because you need a keyframe. So as soon you start drawing anything, automatically a keyframe is made wherever you are. Or simple, what you can do, you can press this button and a keyframe will be made. Now we have three different ways to draw. We have pencil, we have a soft pencil, then we have a marker. So I will take marker, okay, and you can choose any color you want, okay, and then you can start drawing the shape you want on your screen. So you can see that it is quite drawing on my screen here, as my computer is little slower. Okay, so you can see it is taking some time to draw. If you have a good machine, it will not be this slow because it actually works on the GPU, the drawing itself. Okay, so you can see that it has drawn on my scene here. Okay, so you can change the color of whatever you want here, but I will keep it as this kind of color. Now if I will go forward, you can see that it is still there. Now I know here my plane was at frame 40. Now if I want to draw here, so I can go at this frame and I can do the drawing here. As soon you will start drawing at this frame, you will notice that the previous drawing will become lighter. Actually the frame, the active frame will be always highlighted, and the inactive frame like this one will be dimmed. Okay, so suppose now I have drew over here, and if now I will move to 40, it will be highlighted, and if I will move to the 70 or 8, sorry, to 80, it will, the 80 will be highlighted. Okay, so if I will go to 10, I can draw over here as well. Okay, somewhere. Okay, and then you can see that there is a keyframe at number 11 also. So I was at 11 and I drew it on 11. So as I'm moving, these are getting highlighted. So this is a pretty much good tool to mark your animations and your modeling and those kind of things. Okay, it works on your GPU. So if you have a good GPU, your drawing will be not as bad as mine. Okay, and other things that you can do over here is that you can erase. I can take an eraser tool and I can erase some part of it or the whole thing. Okay, and one more thing is that it's also count on the resolution. Okay, so basically my resolution is quite low as well on the scene, so that's why it is also being like, you know, like a kind of a jagged line. So I can erase some parts. Okay, or simply if you don't want, you can go to that keyframe, press the delete button from here, and you can easily delete that. Now there will be time in your animation when you will be repeating your already created animation. For example, I have this dice which is rolling and moving forward. Okay, but it is doing it in one like, you know, as a one spot. So like there is no repetition, there is no cycle. Okay, so it's just like it's animating only once. So it just rotates and move forward. So what I can do from here, I can add another keyframe, I can rotate and move it around and keep on doing that, but it will take time. So what if we take existing frame and copy and paste them? So if I take these, okay, all of them, if I right click, copy, okay, then wherever I want, right click, paste. Okay, now let's see what happens. So from here it goes normally, then it should go animate, but it's not actually doing what I wanted. It's rolling back to original position, then it starts again the animation, which I actually don't want. I want to start the animation from here in this like way. Okay, is it clear? So let's do one thing. Let's undo what we have done so far here. And now we are back where we were. So now let's see how to do that. To do the repetition cycle, we have to use the graph editor, the curve editor. Now, before doing that, let's see one thing here. This is a dice. You can see here when it starts, the number 3 is on the top. And when it's end, the number 4 is on the top. Okay, so this we have to keep in mind. It will be our cue point when we are doing it. So let's open the graph editor here, window, and animation editor, graph editor, and now we have the graph editor here. Now a lot of things you will see on your screen, a bit overwhelming, but can make you confused. So always what you need to do is that one by one we have to see. So one thing here is that we will go to X. Okay, so this is moving in an X direction. So if you will see, this is the X direction, so it moves in the X direction. Okay, why it is moving in this direction, like it goes up and down. Okay, and then Z, there is nothing in the Z direction, so it's okay. Rotate X, nothing in the rotate X. Rotate Y, nothing in the rotate Y. Rotate Z, there is a rotation over here. Okay, so let's go to X. Okay, first. Now first of all, we have to repeat its X position. Okay, so to repeat the X position, we have to make sure everything here is selected. When your whole thing is selected, or what you can do, simple, you can click over here, X. Okay, so once this X is selected, we have here the curves, and inside the curves we have two options to make a cycle. The first option is pre-infinity, the second option is the post-infinity. Pre-infinity creates cycle before your keyframes, like if I'm on 16, so it will start from 15, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6 and keep on going backwards. Post will move forward. So for this case, because it ends at 32 and we want to start from 32 here, the cycle. So that means we will use curves post infinity. Now there are different kind of cycles here. The first cycle is the normal cycle. Now what it does is that it goes to the end of your animation, and then as soon it will go on the end of the animation, it will start the same animation. It will jump to frame 1 and start this animation. Okay, so let's see how it works. So if I will press the translate X and then curve, and then if I will go to pre-infinity cycle. Okay, now if I will go move off forward here, okay, I think I have to select these in order to do that. Curve, post infinity and cycle. Okay, now you will see that it moves, because we are only applying cycle on X translation. We are not applying on Y, so don't worry about if it is not going up or it's not rotating, because we are not applying anything on Y or rotate Z. Okay, so now let's see what happens when we go forward from frame 33. It jumps back here and then it moves because it's X translate, so it's doing that. Then again it jumps back and then move. So this is what it is doing, and obviously we don't want this. Okay, so what we want is that we want to have a cycle with offset. Okay, before applying cycle with offset, let's see what is the oscillate. Oscillate is the same thing as the cycle, but it does not jump to frame 1. It animates and move backwards, like it plays backwards and then forward, backward, forward, backward, forward. So let's see what it do. If I will go to post infinity and press oscillate, so it goes forward, then back, then forward. So it's a good option if you're using an animation of a character swinging in a swing, okay, back and forward, or a pendulum, but not in this case. So in this case, what we need to do is that we have to use cycle with offset. These two are like basically like constant speed. It's like more like a cycle, but there is no curve actually. So don't worry about these two. Now, if I will choose cycle with offset, what it is that it repeats the animation, but it offsets it, like it's push it more forward instead of repeating. It pushes it. So that's the best thing we want. So I will go to post infinity, choose cycle with offset. Okay, so if I will look at the animation now, it moves forward, then more forward. Okay, this is actually what we want. So now we know the best one we require is the cycle with offset. Now what I will do is I will go to frame, translate Y, select the whole Y. Okay, then I will go to curve, post infinity, and apply the same thing, cycle with offset. Okay, now let's see, and now it will go up and down. Let me move this one so you can see that. Okay, so it's actually doing what we want, but what is missing? The rotation is missing. So now what we need to do is that we have to go to the rotate Z. So as soon as I will go to the rotate Z, I will select the whole thing. Now let's see if I will choose, I will go to the curves, post infinity, and choose cycle without cycle offset. So if I will choose cycle, let's see what happens. Okay, let's move it so you can see. It rotates, it too rotates. Okay, but notice what happens. Here when it starts with number 3 on the top. When it ends at number 4 on the top. But when it goes to frame 34, it jumps back to that same rotation which was on frame 1. Because cycle, what it do is that it jumps back to its previous state, the first frame. So that's why it's not number 4, it's number 3. So if this whole dice or box was a single color, you will not be able to guess this error. But as we have these marks on it, so we know that whatever is happening is not right. Okay, so for one time you will see that it's fine, but if you will look closer and dig deep into what's actually happening, so it is wrong. So we don't want to apply that curves like post infinity cycle. Okay, let's first see like how the oscillate will affect here. So if I'll choose oscillate, okay, so basically it will go like this, and it will go back and forth like this, because oscillate plays forward and backward, okay, but we don't want that. Actually what we want is that curves, post infinity, and cycle with offset. Okay, now if I will play my animation, so you can see that number 4 is there. It should start from number 4, and it does start from number 4, and it continues. So if I will play my animation by playing the play button, you can see that clearly it's fine. Okay, so this is how you can create cycles. Okay, infinity cycles. As longer your animation is, it will keep on playing without stop. So this will save a lot of time, but you need to know which is the correct post infinity or pre infinity option that you are going to choose. Now sometimes when you want to render your animation and you have a quite heavy scene with a lot of lights, a lot of objects. So it will take a lot of time to render those scenes. And if you want to render a test scene, and if you want to send it to someone like your client or your friend, so it will be hard for you to render the whole scene. So to render a test animation, we have an option which is called Playblast. So how we can use the Playblast, let's see. So here we have this normal animation. You can see that whatever is going on. Okay. So what I can do is that I can go simply back to window. Okay. And here is the Playblast. So let's see what are the settings of the Playblast. Let me click here. Now Playblast gives you like very few amount of settings, which is good. Okay. First, time range. Do you want to like animate the whole time range or time slider, or you want to give a specific time? So I want the whole time slider, so I will keep the time slider here. Use a sequence time. Okay, so sequence time basically whatever is the timing of your sequence, you want to show that or without it. But if I'm using the time slider, I don't have to worry about this. Show ornaments. Yes, I do want to show ornaments, because there are sometimes ornaments on your screen like a curves, and you have this modifier icons, camera icon, light icon. So you can keep this, or if you want to hide it, you can hide it. Okay, but I will keep it as it is. I will not change anything. Render off screen. So basically I don't want to render off screen, I want to render on screen so I can see what is going on, otherwise I will not be able to see. Multi-camera output. I don't have a lot of cameras. I have only one camera, so I don't want to check this one. Format. So you can choose any of the format. You can choose either image or you can choose AVI. Encoding. If you want to use any encoding, you can choose, or you can keep it as it is. Quality. I will keep 70. Display size from window or from render setting or custom. So you can make your own size. I can go here. And maybe I can type here 960 by 586, whatever you want, you can write it. Rest scale of the animation, I will keep it as it is, and then other files I will keep it as it is. And if I want to save it to a file, I can click over here. Okay, where I want to save it, I can press this button here. Okay, I can choose, I can write here the name of the file. Okay, maybe dice, something like that. Press save, and then I can press Playblast, and it will start doing the animation. So once it is done, it will open your required like your tool, like your player. In my case, it opened this one. Okay. So this is pretty much it is how you can use the Playblast. So now you know where this file is saved, and you can send this file to your friend. It will be a very short file. You don't have to worry about the size of the file, and it took a very less time to create this kind of animation. Okay, and this is very good if you are using a test animation rendering. Now sometimes you will have an animation which you can combine with some other animation. For this purpose, you will use the time editor tool. To get the time editor tool, you have to go to the Windows Animation Editor, and you have the time editor. Now in my scene here, I have this aeroplane animating. Okay, so if I go through the time slider from here or from here, you can see that this animation is moving up and down, and then it rotates. Okay, so basically what is going on is that I have in the time editor two different kind of animation. One is org and other is org1. So what it is basically, this one is when my aeroplane is moving up and down, and this one is basically when the aeroplane is rotating. So if you will notice, there is a slight diagonal line over here. This diagonal line represents transition. Means I'm combining the two animations, the one which is going up and down and the one which is rotating. And between these two, it is changing from going up and down to rotation. So don't worry about this whole thing, because next part we will learn how to do this. Okay. first let's see what the interface is and how it actually works. So if I move apart these two animation part, like suppose if I will take this arg1 and move it away, okay, from here, basically I have to click here and then move it, okay. Now you will notice there is no transition now because they are not overlapping each other, they are far apart from each other. So if I will start the animation now, you can see that it is going up and down, and now it stays up because there is nothing here, there is no animation happening here. So if I go more forward and then when I reach here, suddenly it moves down and it starts rotating. So there is no mix and match here. To do the mix and match, you have to move this next to each other. At least there should be a little transition. So in this case there is a little transition, so it will move up and down and then start rotating without any jump. Or here you can make as many tracks you can as you can do in Adobe Premiere or for layers in Photoshop, okay. Same thing, the layers in Maya as well. So simple, what you can do is that you can drag this and move it down, okay. Once you do that, you will notice that still they are overlapping, so there will be no error because they are overlapping, okay. If I will take this and move apart, now the error will be here, okay. So either you move them in one layer and overlap, or you can move them in a different layer like down, okay, and then move around left or right, and it can be overlapped like this, okay. So you can do so many things over here. Suppose here you have the controls, show key for all clips on this track or not, so you can hide or unhide. So now I can see these keyframes here. So instead of that one big log, I have the keyframe, so I can move around the keyframe if I want to, okay. So I can right click and then, you know, whatever I want to do, but I don't want to change at this stage. I will keep it as it is. Then I can disable this, so it will not show anything here unless I you know, enable it. So this is basically mute and unmute, okay. Here you have solo track. So what it will do, it will mute the other layers and it will only keep this one layer as shown. Next to it is the ghost. So if I press over here, so it will show me the ghost of that layer. Suppose here you can see that, okay. If I turn on this one, so it will show me the ghost of this one as well, okay. So basically what is this? This ghost actually show you the ghost of the actual transition. Like here it transits from like jumping to rotation, just like this. So this is actually shows that transition, how it works, okay. So this is the ghost of transition basically. Now here is the name of the track. So if I will make it bigger, you can rename this track, and I can write here jump, okay. Here I can write here rotate, and this is how I can you know, change these, okay. Now I can type here wait as well. Like suppose I don't during the transition, overlapping of the transition, I don't want it half. 1 means half 100%. I want it to rotate more, so I can increase this value, and if I want like don't affect if I don't want the jump to be more affected, so I can write here less value. So you can see here, so it rotates, you know, more you know, more efficiently than jumping, okay. So this is how you can increase the weight for it, okay. So other than that, we have some tools over here, like if you can create a new composition, okay, or you can make a duplicate current composition. So this is basically a composition, and we are in scene time, whatever the like composition name you have, you can, if you press it, you can write the name of the composition, it will be added here. So we have here rename the composition, delete the composition. So or whatever composition you will make will come inside this drag down menu, okay. So here you have a create a clip from selection, so we will see that in the next class, and you have the other options here. scale mode, loop mode, and if you want to play and then you want it to be in the loop. So all these are the basic options here. Okay, you have a like split. If I want to split this animation into two, so I can split it, so it will become 2, 1. I can put it somewhere here. Okay, and then this is how it can work. So what it will do is that it will start jumping and then rotate and then start jumping again. So this kind of thing you can do that. Then you have here start, like trim start to current time. So if I click here, okay, so I can trim it the way I want it. And if I want to trim the end part, so I can select this and I can trim that part. So I don't want to do it. Okay, so suppose if I'm in the middle, if I click here, so it will move to that time, timeline. You can undo it, and if I press this one, so the last one will move to this timeline. Okay, so basically wherever your time indicator is, okay, these two will move there. This is toggle ripple. So a ripple is basically any gap is known as the ripple. So you can uncheck the ripple or enable or disable the ripple. Okay, if you want to keep the transition or no, so there will be no transition or there will be transition if you are overlapping to animation in the one layer. So if I will go over here, so I can enable or disable here, but I will keep it enabled. This is snapping. So when you're moving around, you can snap. So like the different other options are here. You can check all of them one by one. Okay, you can make layers over here. Okay, and then you can move directly to the graph editor, or you can like open the content of whatever you have here. So these are the contents. Basically we don't have too much here in the scene. Then you have here like game exporter. You can export any kind of animation in Unreal or in Unity. So same of these options are also given over here. Okay, so if you are done with the whole animation, like I like this animation, okay, so I want this to bake, means like to collapse. So I can go to bake and bake to the scene or bake to new clip. Okay, so I will have a new like bake clip over here, or I can do is that I can bake to scene, so it will bake over here. So this is how it will like basically work. Okay, and we'll see how to make how to create a time indicator and these kind of things in the next part. Now let's move to that part. Let me open the new file. So now let's see how to work on the time indicator and how the time indicator actually works. So let's see what we have here. If I will turn on my outliner, so I have here an aeroplane, okay, which is jump move. So if you will see that, let me do one thing. Let me hide these two and only show you the jumper move. So the jumper move actually is the animation here. Let me hide this one also. Okay, so jumper move is basically like a aeroplane which is kind of jumping around up and down. Okay, and then we have this rotate move. Okay, what is the rotate move? Rotate move is the one which is actually only rotating. So you can see it is rotating. So there are two aeroplanes. One is jump move, which is jumping up and down, and other one is the rotate, which is rotating. So we have two aeroplanes here. Now let me unhide the original one, and then I have the original which is not actually doing anything here. So what we are going to do here is that I will take the animation of jumping up and down and animation of the rotate, and I will take these two and I will apply it on this aeroplane. Okay, so to do that, let's go to window, animation editor, and then time editor. So now in the time editor you will see I don't have anything here, it's all empty. So what I need to do is that I need to create a clip here, okay, from any one of these. Now original one does not have any animation, so obviously we are not going to choose that one. So first one that we will choose here is the jumper move. So I will take the jumper move. Okay, so I have different options to do that. I can select the jumper move from the outliner, press middle mouse button and drag it here, or press this button here. Okay, so you have different options. So if I click on this button here, so it will add inside my in editor, or I can middle click on with my middle mouse button. Now I can click on the aeroplane from the outliner and then drag it here. So both ways I can do that. So you will get this option, and you have to do some kind of like settings over here. First is that you need a like a clip name. So you can write a clip name here, like this one we are using is the jumper move. So I can here and write here jumping plane. Okay, so I have written here jumping plane. Rest of the other things I will keep it as it is. Okay, now create animation source only, no clip. So I don't want to keep this checked because I want an animation. Okay, so this is only if you don't if you're any item or any object here, if it is not animating for that purpose, you can only press here. So it can make an empty container, but we are not making an empty container, we are making a clip. So I will uncheck this one. Rest of the other things are fine. I don't want to change anything. Okay, so I will apply and close. So maybe it will create something from here which I can move it, so it's not a big deal. So I will press apply and close. Now you can see it is applied. Basically it is applied from the beginning, so it's fine. Okay, and let me make it bigger. This is track 1, so I will rename it to jumper. Okay, now I have to add here the rotation one, the one which is rotating. So I will click on the rotator, like rotator moves, and then I can go to file and add animation from selection. Or what I can do is that I can simply press my middle mouse button and drag it here inside under this track, not over here, otherwise it will overlap. So I will add here. Okay, so I will get the same like information over here. So I will change the name of the clip. So I will rename it to rotating plane. Okay, rest other things I will keep it as it is, and I will press apply and close. So here we have this a rotating plane. Okay, so let me move it a little bit forward here. Now what I will do is that I will rename it to rotator. Okay, now the goal is that, if you will notice that as the jumping plane is the first one to animate, then there is this your rotation one which goes. Okay, but still we don't have anything from the original one. So now let's bring the original one. Okay, same way what we did before. I will take the this org3, this is the original one, and I will, with my middle mouse button, I will drag it and drag it here. Now here I will write original plane. And one thing I will click is create animation source only, no clip. So if I will press this button, it will not create any clip over here, but it will create an empty container inside this time editor in our outliner. You will find it. Okay, so I will do that. Press apply and close. So now I will go here in time editor, in sources, and here you will see I have here original plane animation source, original plane animation source 1. Okay, so what I will do here is that I will take the one which is without number 1. Okay, don't worry about these two, these are the old ones. Okay, which I think is here because of some error. Okay, so I will take this one, original plane anim source, okay, and with the middle mouse button I will drag it here down, and once I will drag, you will see that it's quite different than these two. First of all, it's very long, and secondly, the color is purple, because purple is indicating that it's an empty container. There is nothing inside this. Okay, so if I will move around, so you will see that only jumping plane and rotation plane is working. This plane is not animating. So what I will do is that, suppose I want the jumping part to be applied to this original one. So first of all, I have to see where is the jumping plane animation source. This is the jumping plane animation source. Okay, not this one. Let me delete these so that you will not get confused. These are the old ones. Okay, so this one, I will middle mouse button, I will press and then drag it over this purple one, the original one which I created. So I will middle mouse button, I will press on this one, drag it on this. As soon as I will do that, this window will open, which is known as the roster mapper. Here you have to map these two. It's very simple. You just have to select this, okay, and this, and then press map button. As soon you will press map button, it will create the map. It will transfer all the animation from jumper move to this animation, to this object, which is the org3. So these are the name of the objects. From jumper move to org3 it will move. Now I will close it. Okay, or I think it's better you can press continue. Don't close it, just press continue. So you will move over here. Now you can see that the original plane is here, but it is now not same as it was before. It was like before. Okay, so it is rotate. It is jumping. Okay, as you can see, the reason we cannot see is that because the jumping plane, okay, and the original plane, they both are top of each other. That's why they look quite same. So let's do one thing. Let's move this one here and this one here. So if I move around, this is the original one. This is the one which is showing on the screen. Okay. Now if I will move it here, this is the already jumping plane. Okay. Now let's do one thing. Let's make another container here. From here, this one I will rename it. Okay, or rename this. Okay, I can write here jump. Okay, now let's take another original plane anim source and drag here. Okay, I have another empty container. Now we'll do the same thing. This time I will not take the jumping. This time I will take the rotating, middle mouse button, and then drag over this new empty container. It will give me this mapper. I will select this rotator move, then org3, then map, and then press continue, and I have this here. Now let's move these to other side and move this one here. Okay, now let's see, original one first moves up and down, then it rotates. Okay, so smooth up and down, then it rotates. So let me do one thing here. As we are done with these two, if you want to keep it, you can keep it, or you can delete. So I can right click here, delete this one, delete this one, as well as from here I can delete. Okay, oops, I have deleted the wrong one. I will keep it as it is. Okay, I think from here you cannot delete it, otherwise your source will be deleted. So you just don't delete from here. So now as those are deleted, I will not delete these one, because if I will delete this, the animation which I have applied here will be also gone. What I can do is that these one, okay, here I can simply select these. I don't want them now. Jumper move, delete, then rotator move, delete. Now only plane I have is the org3. So I have here org3 which moves, okay, up and down, and then it rotates. So what I can do is that I can overlap them. Okay, how? I can move this one and do a bit transition between these two. So it will look like this. It will move forward, up and down, and then it will start rotating, but rotating it will go back again. Okay, or what I can do is that I can drag this one and put it down at the same position. Now it is also moving up and down, and also it is rotating. Now suppose if I want to jump more, so I can increase the jump weight more. So jumping will be more. Okay, so you can see that it is jumping more. Or if I don't want the rotation to be more, I can reduce the value of the rotation. So jumping is more and rotation is less now. So this is how you can arrange now. You can do so many other things. You can cut them, you can split them with the splitting tool and move them around. And it's a very good tool for like the time indicator if you are doing any kind of mix and match animation from different like sources and applying it into your own animation and getting the result. So I hope you have learned a lot from this whole complete Maya Essential 2020 course, and please subscribe to my channel, click the bell icon, and thanks for watching all these essential like tutorials. It took me quite a while to create these tutorials and then sharing it with you, and I hope you have learned a lot from all these tutorials, and hopefully you will start working in Maya and you will learn more other things, and then keep watching my channel, keep like sharing it, and there will be a lot of videos coming up. There will be a lot of different tools coming up. Okay, and some bonus tutorials I will post about Maya and other things. So thanks a lot for subscribing to my channel and sharing it. I need your support so that I can continue with all these tutorials, and please leave your like comments down in this video, and please let me know if there is any suggestions or anything that I can include in my next tutorials. Okay, so if you have any questions or anything, you can go to our like Facebook page, and in the Facebook page you can write the comments, and you can you know, if you have any trouble you can answer over there, and I hopefully in the next videos, coming up videos, I will make some like like I can explain some solutions if you have any problems you're facing or any tips you want. Okay, so see you soon in the next series of the tutorials. Keep watching and keep looking into Zinteractive, and keep supporting like this channel, and have a nice day.